The temporary revolve around the MRO and the suspensions that begin a season. So this is particularly bitter for Jai Newcombe at the moment. He's just been elevated to captaincy alongside James Sicily. He remains their key player in the centre of the field in the absence of Will Day. And the dangerous tackle. One arm pinned, Richards in a vulnerable position, head slaps into the ground. It looked garden variety 1 week suspension when it landed. Yeah. It'll get tested tomorrow night.
Well, you're much better at this than I did this game and was asked, and I said, look, it ticks a lot of boxes in terms of, he had one arm and it went to ground. I thought the fact that he hadn't been knocked out naively might have saved him. So they'll have their job cut out to try and turn it around. He was clearly Hawthorn's best player and what was ultimately a pretty disappointing night, so they'd be desperate for him to play. But, first game out, Jared, I don't reckon he does this in the sixth game. You've got to get yourself back into that mindset of going, OK, what happens? We ask so much of these players here. What am I supposed to do when I've tackled him and I'm halfway to ground? What is it again? Oh, yeah, I've got to let that arm go. Or, no, I've got to let him go. And that's sort of counterintuitive to what you do as a footballer. And we ask them to be counterintuitive in that instance. And I don't think he does that in round 5 or 6. History tells us they don't. Because I tell you all the time, players are the quickest reactors. They react and change their behaviours really quickly. And last year, Swann will be able to tell us, we had next to no.
Yeah, so I think we've gone from mid-30s to teens to 5.
Right, yeah.
And then we start off with this. And to protect the integrity of the crackdown, this has to be sent forth.
Yes.
Hawthorn have the night to work out how to make a case to try to work their way around.
Takes us to Sam Durham, who also...
actually, you can run this past Swanee when he gets here, rather than...
Yeah, well, let's not go to Sam Durham. Let's wait till Swanee gets here, Gary, and read the rundown.
The dozy player was Jed Walter. Done a lot. Now, his trajectory is interesting because he wasn't in the chosen teams for the final, so he's had the summer to stew on that, to ready himself for it. He committed himself up and down the field right through this game, but as it's fizzling out, that's just going to cost you a week every single time. Yeah,
well, that's just stupid from Jed. And there's next to nothing in it, and the only outcome that could come is he sits out round 1 and when he's in a fight for a spot with Jamara Ugle-Hagan, and, maybe Jamara comes out and kicks 6 and he might not get his spot back in. So, no, I watched most of that game. He worked really hard and, it looked like, to me, a player that the penny had dropped and he understands that, his spot is no longer guaranteed, and now he gives it up on something stupid like that. So, no sympathy for Jed on that one.
All right, let's delve into all that transpired. It's a systems check. It's absolutely necessary for all sorts of reasons. She was a wild old time in the community series.
Bucks, you're looking great in the Cats colours. How are you feeling? It's a bit weird.
What hat am I wearing at the moment?
Well, good to see you, Jake. I feel like I've come to a wedding of underdressed.
How much are you going to pay? Like, you're giving him the ball every time. What's he going to give you? Surely half of his contract, eh?
North hold on and win by a point.
Get a win for our group. It's obvious that we haven't really won many games in a long time now, so just to practice that winning feeling.
I just feel so grateful to be out here. It's been a long journey, but all credit to the rehab staff. They got me back to this position.
It's too dangerous for the players to be out here and then they throw us out on the footy field.
It wasn't your average game of footy and probably not the ideal lead-in.
It was a final systems check that came with its challenges, lightning and rain and floods, causing all manner of havoc through the community series. It wasn't seamless from a rules perspective. Put the frighteners through the Cats camp at one stage. It wasn't perfect. Just ask Riley Sanders, who learnt that the hard way. And it proved costly for a couple who are going to sit out the early round of the season. Jagger showed that he'll be worth the wait for Blues fans. An American fitted rather seamlessly in over in the West. And the Stars didn't muck around. Zach is in showroom condition, attracting many an eye. Naz, he began his bid, but his footy might match his check and he might become the best in the competition. So we've got to look at the game, at the teams, at the players. Let's put it all to the test. Greg Swann, great to have you here. Welcome.
Thanks for having me on, boys.
The honeymoon period's over. You had that last year. You bang, straight into the hot seat. Away you go.
Yeah, well, that's right. Now the real season starts. It'll be even hotter, I think. But, no, so far, so good.
You got your first gut puncher, a suspension handed down, a shot across the bows of the competition. And the trivia will be Harry Schoenberg.
Yeah, well, we sent out some clips to the clubs and, of what would be penalised, and Harry hit most of those, or hit them all, to be honest. He had a swinging arm, closed fist, and Yeah. Off the ball. So, yeah, he's got a week.
I commend you, Swanee. I've been calling for this for a long, long time, only because this will put the rest of the competition on notice, and there's always got to be one. You've got to break a couple of eggs, but I can nearly guarantee there might be one more pickle that does it throughout the year, but that'll just send a clear message. So you won't have to worry about that too.
That's what you hope for. I mean, I think when it came in, it was, for that, just as a deterrent. And it is interesting. We've had one early in the season, but hopefully that's, as you say, that'll be the last one we see.
The conjecture here will always be around force, won't it?
It will, and again, with the clips we sent out, that'll be Chris O's call whether the force is enough. But in this instance, it was pretty clear that there was enough force. Evans went down, and it was deemed to be a week.
Don't do it, Jared. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, that's the, and we talk about what happens at junior level and things like that too. That they mimic the guys playing their heroes in the AFL. So there was talk around the juniors that there was a lot of that happening. So hopefully that stops that too.
And the sling tackles, Jared just gave us a number. So as I say, players respond and they react and they adjust their behaviours. Now we had a couple already on the weekend. So John Newcombe goes and gets a week. So, I understand why. I thought maybe Richards gets up and he might be okay, but this behaviour I don't think will happen halfway through the year or even in a couple of games' time. I don't reckon John Newcombe there is being malicious. I think he just forgot that what we ask him. But in this one, he got two arms almost locked. That's a double action to me, Swanee. So just explain. I don't want to get into the minutiae of this for the rest of the year, but just explain the difference. That to me looked like a more likely suspension than Newcombe.
I think the thing that saved in that instance was that Burns' head didn't hit the ground, and so I think he was lucky because if it did, he was going to certainly get a week. But he doesn't hit the ground, so they're the main differences. Both didn't let go, like I heard you guys talking about it at the start. But you can certainly see with Ed Richards, his head he has a bit of a bounce on the ground. So that's the main difference.
Playing with fire, Sam Durham, in that instance, isn't he?
He was lucky. He was lucky because if his head hit the ground, he was definitely going to get suspended. Yep.
The new suite of rules. What have you gone through today? And I imagine there are a lot of questions asked and some guidance to the clubs as we all refine for Thursday night. Yeah, the clubs have been really good and we've asked for a lot. So anything that they're unsure of, send it in and we'll go over and have a look. Some of the stats, with the ruck rule's been probably the one where we've had most feedback. So we had, even on the week, so we had 267 centre clearances. They're jumping at 95%. So really happy about that. So it went from about 20-odd% now jumping at, that sort of percentage. And there was only 7 frees given out of that many contests. So, all the players and the clubs have been really good. So there have been a couple that I think you're going to show me now that were a little bit debatable. But again, we've looked with the umpires department. We'll send some more things out tonight saying that was right, that was wrong. A couple of things which, we've made some adjustments. So, we just keep liaising with the clubs on those. But in the main, it's been really good. Did you give the umpiring fraternity any instruction as to how to adjudicate it? Like, to the absolute letter of the law? Or did you say, listen, let's just get this bedded down unless it's an ultra-obvious one? Yeah, I think in the main it is the second. It's ultra obvious. Like, you don't want to have a toe over the line and you get pinged for that. Like, it's got to be pretty blatant that you're walking over, it's almost like a foot fault or you go across the popping crease. It's got to be pretty blatant that you go across before you before you get pinged. But the thing which we've encouraged everybody, if you start behind the line and you jump, then you're 99% you'll be fine. So that's been what's happening in the majority of cases. So Pitnet created confusion because in the first game there was an incorrect free kick. That's right, and we cleared. We did clear it up that night. I think we spoke to the Fox guys and said no, that shouldn't have been a free, and so we've cleared that up and probably because he doesn't do much wrong there. He stays on his side. He ends up on the other side of the line. He does, but he's just chasing the ball. But even then, it's because, that's just an early jump that misses the footy. He's got sort of half his foot over, but in the main, he hasn't gone across the line to block the other guy from jumping. So, anyway, that would be play on in normal circumstances. What about the Grundy with the stooging? Yeah, no, we've looked at that, and he got a free for that, but there wouldn't be a free. Now, again, if you don't jump,
and you want to, the stooging. You can stooge, but it'll be play on.
So that's like a false inducement. Like it's like that the stand on the mark. If you go the fake handball,
correct,
and they go off the line, then you're not going to pay that.
That's right. So that'll go out today saying that's play on.
And is there an unintended consequence with this? I know Shannon Neal ends up not having a PCL, or that's what we're told.
Yeah.
We've got any concern about the fact that the jumping is back, and that maybe this is an unintended consequence if we get a little space of PCLs?
I think you'd be naive to say that it's not going to happen. It'll happen, but we've sort of given an undertaking. If there was a pandemic of them, you might change it back. But
that's not
that was a
one,
shin. No, that was a shin. So look, I think it's going to happen. But again, we think the unintended consequences from a good perspective is scores out of the centre bounces have gone up. It's a very small sample size, but. The things that we wanted, the game length has come back, the scoring's gone up, scoring from centre bounces has gone up. So, we're hopeful that goes into the season proper as well.
Jared Healy had a fit because the line didn't go right across the middle.
Yeah, we fixed that.
You sorted that out for him?
We did.
Okay.
He sent me a couple of texts. But we got... It was to do with Amy and... their sponsorship of the centre circle, so we couldn't put the line all the way through, but we had a darker line. Anyway, it worked, so it's all been fixed.
We love Amy, by the way.
We do love Amy.
How did last disposal out of bounds go?
Yeah, that's probably been the easiest one, to be honest. I mean, the only thing I suppose is a little bit, a little bit of conjecture around the one that's a bit accidental off your shin or your foot. But the theory on it. This is a good one from Toby where he hits it into Tom Barras. But again, if you're in the goal square and that happens, that's a goal. That comes off your shin or below your thing, so it's a goal. So that's how we adjudicate it around the ground. This is the best example. Ed Richards goes out of bounds. Bradley Hill just picks it straight back up. And that's what we want. We want the game moving. We want the game. And this is the one that's a bit unlucky. It does come off his leg. But as I said, if that was in the goal square and the same thing happened, that'd be a goal. So it's the same.
You're paying that free kick all day long.
Yep.
And so this one,
that should have been. We're going to use the arc during the season to help with those decisions. We didn't have that fully operational at Henson Park, but we would have picked that up normally. But we're going to use the arc to help if it's very clear who it's come off. Yeah.
So that message would have come down to the central umpire to say, hey,
it's off Sydney or off whoever. Yep.
And could have used the arc the way it rained in that game too.
Yeah, that's right.
The stand rule.
Crispy from Jared in the opener.
Did it have the? Was it umpired diligently enough? Have the players got the hang of it? And what are you hoping that it does on the early evidence?
Yeah, I think again, same thing. We're really happy with it. The players have been, for the most part, very listening and doing as they're told. I mean, I know there's some examples coming, but so these are pretty blatant, to be honest. And the umpires have spent a whole, twice as much time as they ever have before out at the clubs telling them what's happening. And, we've given vision of it. I mean, they're pretty blatant. You give the free, you're within 5 metres, you've got to stand the mark. Pretty simple. And in those instances, they did it. This one probably would have been a free 50 last year anyway, because he comes from outside the protected area and then keeps running. If you had the umpires, he calls Nate Caddy there about 3 or 4 times to stand, and he kept moving. So he got pinged 50. Same thing here, stand.
So they're all within 5 metres.
They're all within 5. They've got to
stand
within the mark. Stand there. That's simple. And then that's freeing up the short 45s, again, the ability to move the ball and go quicker. So that's the reason that we brought that in.